All right. Hi, guys. So today we're doing Chapter 10, Lesson 2, which is Personal and Family Budgets. So we're working with percents and changing numbers into fractions and then making them into percents. In your assignment, which is, I am going to go over some examples here to help you out. So for example 1, it says the components of Shelton family monthly budget are shown. Calculate the percent of the total budget for housing. So first we're going to be looking at housing. And if you look at the pie chart, housing is 1,560. Okay. So, all right. Before we can do that though, we do have to get the total expenses. And they did that for us right here. So the total expense is 5,860. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide what we got for housing right here. Housing is 1,560. So 1,560. We're going to divide that by the total expenses, the budget, 5,860. And with your calculator, you're going to divide those two. 1,560 divided by 5,860. And I get 0.266. Okay, but when we want to change a decimal to a percent, you can either multiply by 100. So if you take your calculator and you multiply that decimal by 100, you get 26.6. But they do want us to round to the nearest percent. 26.6 rounds to 27%. And that was already done for us right here. I'm just going over the examples. So 27% is for housing. Okay, now let's look at example 2. Determine the minimum household budget for the Shelton family and the average hourly wage for one working parent to meet the budget. And it says to assume the parent works 160 hours in 1 month, round to the nearest cent. Well, we already have what the budget was. The budget, we did it right here. That's 5,860. And if we are going to take that number and divide it by the hours the parent works, $36.63 would be the average hourly wage after we divide. Okay, so those are the examples that were done already, but I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 at the bottom. Calculate number 1, exercise number 1. Calculate the percent of the total Shelton family budget for taxes. So we're going to go up to our chart and look, how many do we have for taxes? Oops. For taxes, it's 1,340. So 1,340. And we need to calculate the percent of the budget. So that number divided by the total budget, which is 5,860. So get your calculator, 1,340 divided by 5,860. And I get 0.228. I'm going to multiply that by 10. Oh, sorry, by 100. Not by 10, by 100 to make it into a percent. And that is 22.86. And it says to round to the nearest percent. So we have 22.8. So that'll stop there, and that will equal 23%. Okay, number 2. Determine the average hourly wage for one working parent to meet the budget. Assume the parent works 170 hours in 1 month, round to the nearest 100. So that's just like example number 2. We take the total amount, and that was 5,860. We're going to divide that by the number of hours, 170. So with your calculator, or you can also divide this by hand, that's going to give me 34.47. $34.47. Round to the nearest cent. Okay, I did have a 0 after the 7, but the nearest cent would be the 7. So that's going to equal $34.47. So that's how much a parent needs to make per hour. Number 3, determine the average hourly wage for one working parent to meet the budget. Assume the parent works 180 hours in 1 month. So the same thing. So we take the total budget, which was 5,860. We're going to divide that by 180 hours. So you can divide it by hand or use a calculator. And that's 32.555. But if we're rounding to the nearest cent, the nearest cent is the hundreds place, okay? And it has a 5 next to it, so that means that 5 is going to go up to 32.56 is the hourly wage. So the rest, you can go back, get everything I've done here, and then you can go to your assignment. I hope this was understandable and look forward to seeing you guys, maybe hopefully in a Zoom, but I will be uploading videos for every assignment. All right, good luck, guys. These questions here, but it will be on the Google form that you're going to fill out. You all have these questions right here that are in your Google form handout. So this is just your notes to look at.